You can use United miles literally for anything. I have spent so much time and tenure with United. I have found almost every single way you can earn miles with them. You can get your flight with it. You can rent a car with it. You can book a hotel with it. You can book experiences with it. And yes, I booked Royal Caribbean Icon of the Seas, world's largest cruise ship, fully for my family of 3 in a suite, by the way, with United miles. And that's why I always say it's easier for me to earn them than it is for me to burn them.
The last time we were together, we did a live stream and you kind of were explaining your whole strategy with going all in on one ecosystem for all of your spend, for all of your redemptions, everything. In your case, it was United. And you've showed a path in which you have diverted from everyone else where they have tried to have a lot of points diversification. Like, oh, I have Hilton points, I got Chase points, I got Delta, I got a million different points ecosystems. You say no, you say one ecosystem to rule them all. And I could book hotels, my flights, I could book experiences. And in your case, you actually booked a cruise recently with your United miles, right?
Absolutely. Now, I will put an asterisk. I won't say all in on United, but I
Okay.
will say, and I've said this in many of my videos, it's pick your partners and like
Right.
build a strategy of cards. Because if I was all in on United, why do I have like 15 different credit cards? Like,
Right.
it's
True.
impossible when they only have 4, in 2 business, right? So 6 cards total. But by picking your partners, in my case, it is United. I built a strategy that allows like everything, well, the majority of all my points to kind of like get focused onto United. And it wasn't literally until 2024 where I actually pivoted, not necessarily pivoted, but enhanced my plan A strategy when I recently got my IHG Premier card,
Hmm.
which does come with a $25 United Travel Bank twice a year. So it does still fit in, but I'll get to that part of it later. But you can use United miles literally for anything. You can buy so much. You can get your flight with it. You can rent a car with it. You can book a hotel with it. You can book experiences with it. I know we just finished talking about Built Travel Portal and their activities. They have United activities that you can do as well. You can pay for it with United miles. And yes, most recently, they opened up new partners. Well, cruise industry's coming back, and they're one of the first to jump on it. And yes, I booked Royal Caribbean Icon of the Seas, world's largest cruise ship, fully for my family of 3 in a suite, by the way, with United miles.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
We just booked their new ship, Star of the Seas. Hasn't even launched yet. we just booked a room on it for next year as well.
You're pre-ordering cruises while the rest of us are struggling to find a flight.
My wife enjoyed it that much, so we're doing it again.
Wow. So how did that work then? I think you a long time ago you gave me the breakdown on the miles it actually took. Do you remember how many it actually took to book that cruise and what the cash price would have been? Like, or
It was
maybe,
up there. It was in the hundreds of thousands, but yeah.
yeah.
And that sounds like a lot, and it is. But I'm not going to take away from that. But you also have to remember, at least for me, I have spent so much time and tenure with United. I have found almost every single way you can earn miles with them, and it's a lot. It's more than I've been able to find with anyone else, and that's why I always say it's easier for me to earn them than it is for me to burn them. Because one, I find value in how I can use them, but I find a whole bunch of value in how I can earn them, because you could just use the card. Of course, if you're playing a cash flight, you get, miles when you fly. When you have status, I'm Premier 1K, their top tier public status, which is 11x per dollar on a cash flight. So that's a lot of miles right there if I'm paying cash. And you've heard me talk about the Chase hack before and how you can use your Chase points to still get United miles back when you fly.
Yep.
They have a dining program. They have a shopping program. They have bonuses within both flights and shopping. So every so often you'll look in your app or log into your account and say, hey, if you book 3 trips within the next 6 months, we'll give you 10,000 more miles. The other day, I just got an email from United for saying, hey, thanks for using the shopping portal. Here's 500 miles. Like, doesn't it feel good to just get miles for stuff you would do on a regular day basis? Literally what the email said. I'm like, yeah, that does feel pretty good, actually. Yeah, did I earn these? I did. But at the same time, it's like I earn more than what I already thought just because they're like, hey, thanks for using our tools and our resources. And
Wow.
one of the weirdest ones, and actually the one I don't take advantage of, is they have a survey application or a survey channel as well for those
Hmm.
that like. I'm sure you've heard of like those applications you watch ads and you get paid.
Yeah.
Well, United has one where you just take surveys and they'll pay you out in miles. Like I
Really?
said, I ain't got time for that, but it's
Right.
there. I think I remember, I only know this because I signed up for the survey account and it was like a promotion. Like, hey, if you sign up and do 3 surveys within like your first 3 days, we'll give you like 5,000 miles. So I'm like, I got 30 minutes. I can do that for 5,000 miles. And that costs me absolutely nothing out of my own pocket,
Wow.
except for my time, of course. So,
Yeah.
like I said, you mix that in with point stacking. Oh, don't forget the Mileage Plus X app, the gift card app, which is
Right.
also another way to earn miles. And if you have a United card, you get 25% boost on all those miles that you buy.
Hmm.
It's real easy to earn them. And so, yeah, I'm not going to say I go all in, but it's definitely plan A. And my go to is, you know what? I know I will always be able to get value out of my United miles.
It seems that you, to me at least, that you have a little bit of a mind shift, a little bit to where I remember when we talked on the live stream, you were kind of more privy to the all in aspect of United, and you still are,
Mhm.
obviously. But I feel
Yeah,
like you've, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you're using some other cards in some different ways to kind of divert your attention just slightly, maybe to enhance your travels. Is that true that I'm noticing, or no?
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
So, like I said, it's kind of the enhance of my plan A. The more I learn, new cards come out, new benefits come out, and they start folding in. I
Mm.
find ways to fold them into my plan A. But yeah, obviously, chase cards. Any card that earns chase UR points. Like you say, you're in the ink train. I got a couple of ink cards myself. And that's only
Nice.
because all of that stuff I can just move over to my CSR. And I do the same thing with my wife, my player two. She has chase cards as well.
Mm.
And of course, we're married and lived under the same home, same roof, I should say, in the same household. So when she earns her chase points, is the family earns our chase points. And actually, speaking of that, United started United Miles pooling this year as well. So you can actually, it doesn't have to be friends or family or spouses or people that live in the same house. You can actually just start getting a group of people and create a pool where all your
Wow.
miles kind of like pool together and you can like start using all those miles together. The only reason why I bring that up is because it works with kids as well. Now the kid can't be the owner of the pool, but they can be a member of it. So in my case, my
Mm.
son is 2 years old. Of course, he can't be the owner of a pool, but he already has miles because we fly so much. So instead of just
Oh.
like, if I really wanted to be bad dad here, I could take his miles, put them in the family pool, and then start burning his miles as well. But I'm not going to do that.
Are you
Um,
saving United Miles under your 2-year-old as, like, his college fund for the future? Like, as United Miles? His
well,
travel fund, basically.
so two things with Unite, and we started doing this before he was 2 years old. But at the age of two, you have to buy a seat for that person.
Hmm.
So ever since he turned 2 months ago, we have to buy a seat. We can't do infinite lap anymore.
Hmm.
Like I said, we were doing this before anyway. But the thing is, if you pay for a seat, that seat earns miles. And it's one of my
Hmm.
biggest pet peeves, especially when I talk to people on the airplanes, I talk to them in the airport while, maybe in a lounge or whatever, like conversations come up like, oh yeah, like I'm a travel strategist or I'm a travel hacker. I have a YouTube channel,
Right.
sing for your supper a little bit while you're out there, folks. And
Right.
the thing is I can't tell you how many times I've been on airlines, like talking to like the family across the aisle or, the guy sitting behind me where they have their kids and that kid doesn't have a frequent flyer account. And yet
Mhm.
you paid for that ticket. You paid
Yeah.
for that seat. So you're just throwing those miles away. So one, no matter what, you should have if you're paying for the seat, someone should be earning miles from it. And so with my son, that's exactly what we do. So if I buy his seat, he has a frequent flyer account with United already, and he's already earning miles. And so, yeah, I would say if I don't touch it, it's gonna like for his 18th birthday, I'm just gonna give him the password to his account and be like, "Hey, I'll see you later." But
Wow.
that's the way that I'm currently looking at it. Like, no matter what, I'm paying for that seat. Someone's getting those miles, even if it's not me. Someone is gonna get those
Right.
miles. Do not leave that money on the table.
That is so unique. I have not heard anybody That just blew my mind. I gotta say, that just blew my mind. You quite literally could set your kid up for future travels when they're 18 years old if you just from 2 years old pay for their seat, obviously, and have them have a frequent flyer account with any airline. That's amazing. And I guess
Yeah,
the same goes for hotels, right? Or I guess if you have to book a separate room if you have multiple kids and stuff. But wow,
only if I were had to book separate rooms or something would I do that. I just instead of like booking 2 rooms, I would just do 2 separate bookings.
yeah.
Um, but then like even though from a status standpoint, yes, he can earn status. That's going to reset every single year anyway. But he already now, like we just mentioned with the cruise, he already has gold status with Royal Caribbean. Like he's only 2 years
Oh,
old. But
wow.
and then actually to go back to your original question, one of the other things is like the Amex Platinum card. And I get a lot of questions about that card because people ask me, especially if you follow my channel, you know me personally, you reach out to me in Discord, you know you can't really do too much with Amex and United. And they're like, why do you find value in this card? Well, a couple of reasons. The $200 airline credit I can use for travel bank, do that directly with United. So I can use that to pay for a flight. You can use it to, if you wanted to buy United Club membership, but without getting a card, you can use Travel Bank Cash on that as well. For y'all that
Hmm.
don't know, of course, you can use United miles to buy United Club status if you don't have United Club card or Explorer card. But it also comes with the Clear credit. Now, as I had mentioned, I'm 1K status with United, so I get free Clear from them. Now, if I wanted to create a family plan, and let's say for my wife, kids are free, by the way, if you're under 18 with Clear, so you don't have to do kids.
Oh.
Or is it
Hmm.
17? It's 17 or 18, whichever.
Hmm.
But anyway, um, a family plan to add, so Clear by itself, the base is like 199, $200. To add one extra adult costs 120. So my 199 is covered through United, and I can use my platinum card to cover my wife. So now we both have Clear and TSA pre-check because we all got cards with the pre-check global entry. So
Right.
that's already taken care of for all 3 of us. But now all 3 of us can go through the Clear line with the pre-check line, and some airports, not all of them, but some of them, that actually makes a huge difference. And so there's just another benefit that you can use from it as well, right there.
Wow.
Last year, outside of like a Chase card of some kind, let me go ahead and see what I have in my wallet right now. My ISG Premier is
Right.
new in 2024.
Hmm.
It's my first hotel card that I ever got, and I'm not mad at it. Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
that's right. We had a whole thing about
Yeah,
that. You said
whole
I don't
thing.
plan on
Like I
getting one.
never had a hotel card. And I know you're also going to ask me about the hotel thing. Why I don't have hotel cards is because I use my United miles to book my hotels as well. So like a couple of months ago.
That's right.
Um, but I actually really enjoy that card because it actually takes pressure away from my plan A strategy from like once again booking any hotel that I can just like, oh, this is a good one. And I can use my miles, I can pay cash, I could use Chase points, whatever, to
Hmm.
now say, well, I actually like intercontinental properties. I stay at intercontinentals regularly, often, I would say, when I have to do work travel.
Hmm.
So I can double dip there. And so now I can earn like the 26 points per dollar if I'm like on a work trip, or I can just use my points for a personal trip. Like if anyone's ever stayed at an intercontinental, I haven't been in a bad one yet. And that's why like if I had to pick a luxury type of hotel chain,
Wow.
I would prefer that. I would stay there on a personal trip.
Wow.
And so that's one of the reasons why I got the card. But then on top of that, instant status, we just talked about that. Instant IHG Platinum.
Yeah.
I already mentioned I'm from the Midwest. Go find me a corner that doesn't have a Holiday Inn on it in the Midwest, like or Staybridge Suites. So I'm like,
That's
oh,
right.
this also fits no matter where I go. If I want to stay luxury or if I need to stay at home,
Right.
I, I always have I can make sure I'm always like earning, maximizing my earnings because of that card. Those
I
types of things.
see.
And then the other one, I know it's been over a year because my last video, I just said I've had this for 2 years. It's my MX Gold card, but I
Nice.
got that one only because my grocery bills instantly went up. My trips to the grocery store went up after my son was born. But I
Makes
have
sense.
earned so many extra points from that particular card. And the offers, everyone has a joke about the coupon book, and I do too. But there is every so often I get a good amount of value out of
Yeah.
it.
I just thought this would be interesting between spend on all your cards. I guess like your maybe your Sapphire Reserve, your United Explorer, your Amex Gold card, this IHG card. Do you have it all segmented? And what would you say the percentage of the time you're using them? You think?
Um, it's not a fair question, and the reason why I say that because it shifts, and it shifts depending on what currency I feel like I want to earn. You had
Mm,
mentioned earlier, like with your ink train, like, hey, you're sitting around that 400,000. That's a good, sweet spot. And I'm the
mm,
exact same way. I like everything like between my Chase points, my United miles, um, almost anything else. Well, I wouldn't necessarily count built. I can't think that's kind of like a one off, but I formerly had like over 100,000, almost 200,000 of those points.
wow.
But now with my IHG, that wasn't above that 200,000 points mark. And the reason why I say that is it's a sweet spot is because at any given time, if I need to drop the ball and be like, we want to take a trip or I need to take a trip, I know
Mm,
that'll cover me, even if like inflated prices, inflated reward values are happening. I know I'd be able to book a flight, book a hotel, whatever, using those particular points. So
makes
as of
sense.
right now, I would say my IHG card is what I'm using the most because at
Hmm,
very minimum, I'm getting the 3X for all of the purchases. Of course, if it's gas or dining or travel, it gets a little bit more. Um, but I'm trying to build that up to get to that sweet spot where it's like, okay, I got like 200,000 IHG points. And then
mm,
let's just say it was there today. It just depends on the situation. Like, okay, like I already have 3 trips with my family booked for 2025 already. But we haven't. My wife loves to go to Hawaii once a year. We haven't booked that yet, and so it's like, oh, I know how I'm going to book it. I'll probably buy the United flight through the Chase travel portal with my Chase
mm,
points. So let me start working on like use my Freedom Unlimited or a Ink card or whatever I can get the most Chase UR points. Or I've already maxed out my Freedom Flex for Q4 at the
mm.
5X already. But it's like how let's work on getting as many Chase points because we know we're going to use those a good chunk of those for X trip that we still haven't purchased yet.
I see. See, I love that. I love the way you frame everything because it just makes so much sense to me when I hear it. I just think like, okay, you're taking your flight, you're going to use your Chase Sapphire Reserve, get 1.5 cent per point through the portal, get that multiplier. So this way, okay, you have a flight now. It's United. You're going to earn miles back via your even your status and just having the freaking flyer account. And then when you go to book the hotel, okay, you're using your was it 26 points per dollar with your IHG card, friggin' running that up like crazy. And then
Yep.
obviously for all the grocery spend, whether it's on whatever card you're going to use, if it's going to be gold or something else, build up that currency for to work it all into the ecosystem. So everything you have kind of works together in your whole travel plan going forward. I love it.
Like I said, I just booked
Mm,
a cruise for my family using miles. Like, if you asked me this like 5 years ago, I would have been like, nah, that'll never happen. The extra layer to this cake, so separate cake, this one's chocolate, first one was vanilla, is using status as well. So, like I
mm,
said, not only did I go all in on what partners that I picked, in this case, United, I also went on the status of United because having status also brings you extra benefits. Like I said,
mm.
1K. I'll get upgraded if I buy like an economy seat 4 days before the flight. Like I already know I'm on the upgrade list when I book the ticket, like instantly hit pay. I go back and check my trips. It already tells me I'm on the upgrade list.
Jeez.
Um, I get economy plus or premier economy, depending on what type of metal or which type of flight you're on. So the blue
Mm,
seats are the purple seats for free. I don't have to pay for those. I get
wow.
3 check bags per person up to 70 pounds for everyone on my itinerary.
Damn.
So when my family and I fly, that's 9 70-pound bags that I could check for
Jeez.
$0. Like those types of things. Now, going back to the cruise, so my mom loved cruising. Um, and because of that, I've been on so many cruises, I didn't realize I already had status with Royal Caribbean. So by the time I came back, they're like, oh, welcome back. Here's because of your status and loyalty and coming back, here's some extra perks. So even that stuff kind of comes into play as well. So that's why I say like picking your partners really, really, really makes a good benefit. If you're just looking at the credit cards, like I get gold status over here, I get president circle for
Mm,
this rental car company over here. Like all of that is great, but there's more to it that you can get as you start earning these statuses as well. Oh yeah, if
crazy.
you've ever taken a United flight, especially from a major airport, and they start doing the pre-boarding, the 1K aspect is like It's like a bum rush. There's like 100 of us, and I know I'm part of the problem.
Oh,
I'm in that
really?
group, but there's
Oh,
so
wow.
many that get on the flight before Group One because there's so many 1K. Now United's trying to work on that right now, and they're gonna like make
Ah,
it a little bit harder.
mhm.
But because I'm already 1K, they actually are making it slightly easier. So even having status helps me continue having
Get
status.
status. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so funny. You know what I wanted to ask too, because I'm reminded now, because you mentioned, booking flights with United and stuff like that. Um, I recently spoke to Matt Welter. We did a video talking about people who are now taking all of their Amex points, transferring it to Hawaiian, because now Hawaiian and Alaska has that partnership where you can transfer your Hawaiian to Alaska. So effectively, Amex to Alaska. And why that's powerful is because Alaska is a part of One World, and you can book all the other
Mhm.
airlines with them. So he mentioned like Iberia, American Airlines, Japan Airlines, a few different ones to note. Do United Airline miles work the same way? Are they a part of an alliance where you can use those miles to book a bunch of other flights, like abroad and stuff like that? Or
Yeah, so you can actually book anyone through Starline's Gold with United. Um,
hmm,
Directly through United's website, just like you would a backdoor booking anywhere else. I would actually say it's maybe slightly simpler. I don't do backdoor bookings regularly because I usually just book directly through Chase Travel Portal or through United directly. Um, but if I had to, let's say I'm in Europe and I needed to fly from one part of Europe to another. Of course, United doesn't do internal Europe flights, but
hmm,
Lufthansa does. So I could
hmm,
actually use United's website to book a trip or book that flight on Lufthansa directly
oh,
instead and still be able to use my United miles. And then on top of that, once you hit United Gold status, you get Star Alliance Gold status, which as long as you got a boarding pass, you get into any Star Alliance Gold lounge worldwide.
really?
Like I said, I've said this in my previous videos before as well. It's like your points should have a purpose. And so, even to answer your question, the way that I look at it, it's how I'm actually going to use my points ultimately. So I'm like,
Hmm,
okay, we're going to book this trip. And let's say I'm not going to stay at an IHG property. I might book the hotel using my United miles. So it's like, cool, if we're going to buy this online, let's use United shopping portal versus Chase shopping portal. Let's use this card versus that card,
yeah.
those types of things. So I actually like pay attention to not just every transaction that I make and how I can stack every transaction I can make, but there's a point to how I'm actually ultimately going to redeem those points to make sure one, I stay above my sweet spot, but also that we're fully covered so that those accounts don't get like I end up with like 4,000 chase points because I burned them all at once. I always have
Right.
enough in there to back me up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to need roughly 150,000 chase points for X trip. Okay. Well, if we did that, our chase account's going to be significantly lower. We should focus on those chase points right now. Like earn those so we can burn those for that particular trip.
Right. I just think I think that's absolutely amazing, man. And that's how we'll go out. So I'll say, Lonnie, I think that's a perfect pinnacle peak right there. So I just want to say, Lonnie, as always, you're always I think changing minds out there, especially mine. Every time I talk to you, I gain a new perspective to use in my own strategy. So I thank you for giving me your time, a lot of time today, actually, to create some awesome content for everybody. So appreciate you, sir.
You can have it whenever you want. You know how to reach
Right.
me.
And as always, go subscribe to Call Me Lonnie on YouTube. 3K. We got to get him to 5K so he'll talk to me again. And go check out all of his other great videos here. As always, thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate every single one of you. Take care.